Have you ever noticed how we sometimes talk around certain subjects? You know, how we use a kind of code to discuss things that are, well, difficult. Today, we're diving into that very human tool, the art of the gentle word, or as it's officially known, the euphemism. And trust me, it's something we all use, probably more than we even realize.
I mean, really think about it for a second. Why that phrase? What makes us instinctively reach for a softer word when we're talking about something so final? The answer to that question, well, it gets to the very heart of what a euphemism is and why it's so powerful, not just in great literature, but in our everyday lives. All right, so let's start with the basics and get a crystal clear definition on the table. What exactly are we talking about when we say euphemism?
So there it is. It's a tool that takes something harsh, something unpleasant, and wraps it in language that's a little milder, a little more polite. But here's the key thing to get. It's not about changing the fact itself, it's about changing the emotional hit that fact delivers. And here's that idea in action. On one side, you have the blunt, harsh reality. He died. And on the other, the euphemism. He passed away. It's the exact same event, but the second phrase, it just carries a sense of peace, a gentleness that the first one doesn't. You can literally feel the difference, can't you? Okay, now for the fun part. Let's get you geared up with your very own Euphemism Detective Kit. This is a super practical set of tools you can use to spot these gentle words anywhere they pop up, whether you're reading a novel or just listening to the news. With these 4 simple tricks, you'll be spotting euphemisms like a pro in no time. They're really straightforward, but incredibly effective. And once you learn to see them, you'll start noticing them everywhere. Let's break them down. Okay, so here are our 4 steps. First, you're gonna look for a softer phrase. Second, you'll try replacing it with the harsh reality. Third, you'll check for common themes. And finally, you'll just sense the tone. Let's dive into each one.
First up, trick number 1. This is your gut check, right? As you're reading, just pause and ask yourself, does this language feel like it's trying to cushion the blow of something tough? If the answer is yes, your detective senses should be tingling. Now, this is a fantastic test. Trick number 2 is all about the swap. Take that mild phrase you've spotted and switch it out for the direct, no-nonsense, harsh reality. If the core meaning stays exactly the same, but the emotional punch gets a whole lot stronger, bam, you found your euphemism. All right, let's move on to trick number 3, which is a huge shortcut. You see, euphemisms aren't random. They tend to cluster around a few specific, sensitive topics. And if you know where they usually hide, you're already halfway there. And here they are, the usual suspects. Death, aging, illness, poverty. These are the things that make us human, but also make us uncomfortable to talk about directly. So whenever you see language about someone being in the autumn of life or just a bit under the weather, you can be pretty sure a euphemism is at play. And our final trick is all about vibe. It's about feeling. Just sense the tone of the words. Euphemisms are so often used to show respect or to preserve someone's dignity. So if the language feels intentionally gentle or considerate, especially around a difficult subject, that's your 4th and final clue. So now that we're all expert euphemism detectives, the really big question is, why? Why do writers and poets bother using these gentle words? What's the point? What do they actually accomplish? And the truth is, it's about so much more than just being polite. In literature, writers use euphemisms to add these incredible layers of meaning. They can preserve a character's dignity, they can build compassion in you, the reader, and they can explore really heavy themes with subtlety and grace. The goal is to deepen the emotional impact, not to hide from it. Let's see this in action with a few examples. Take this beautiful line. It paints such a vivid, respectful picture, doesn't it? Seen many winters. Because the harsh reality is just, she is old. See the difference? That euphemism adds a whole world of wisdom and lived experience that the blunt statement just completely misses. Here's another one tackling the theme of death. She has gone to rest beneath the silent sky. It's poetic, it's peaceful, it's somber. The blunt meaning is simply, she is dead. But the euphemism, it allows us to process that finality with a layer of beauty and peace. It focuses on the idea of rest, not just absence. And one last example, this time about poverty. He lived with modest means.
The phrase acknowledges his situation without reducing him to a single harsh label.
Because the blunt reality is he was poor. But the euphemism allows the author to show us his hardship while at the same time emphasizing his dignity, the fact that he walked with pride. It tells a much richer story.
So, after all this, what's the one big idea to walk away with? It really boils down to this simple but powerful concept: truth with grace.
This is the most important thing to remember. A good euphemism, especially in literature, isn't meant to deceive you. It's a communication tool. It allows us to face the truth, but to do so gently, with sensitivity and dignity. The real intent is to connect with the reader, not to obscure the facts.
And that leaves us with one final thought. We all do this. We all use gentle words to navigate difficult conversations. So take a moment and think. What gentle words do you find yourself using in your own life? It's a fascinating window into the power of language. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.